Well, ready to start with Dungeon Degenerates? Not quite. I haven't yet done those weaknesses. I'll do them. But let's move forward and look at where we are. So there's the mission book, which is a series of the scenarios, but also how to start a campaign. And in a campaign, certain cards are taken out of play. They will presumably get shuffled into important decks as appropriate. And for the particular scenario we're playing, there's 2 loot cards that get removed from the deck at the start of the scenario. And they're going to drive this scenario. Some instructions on how to set up. Most of this I've done already. And one mission will lead into another one, depending on how you finish a mission. You may end up being given different options. You may end up being part of a specific faction, in which case that may affect some of your missions. If you're captured, you get thrown into a specific mission. That will come from that. But we're going to start with, this is the starting scenario in the base game. But again, I have two other campaigns, I guess. I think they're probably somewhat smaller, but they may feed into some of these. And this is On the Run. And I'm not going to read you the description, but basically you're in prison and the jailer says, hey, I'll let you free if you do a little task for me. You have 2 options. You can, and the little task, let's see, is to retrieve and deliver a package to his crooked cousin in Pigskin Port. Now, I have never tried refusing to do the mission because it sounds stupid. It's like, yeah, I'll let you free and you just do this thing for me and you don't have to do it or whatever. And you set the bounty level at 3. You take these items out if you're doing this mission. If you don't, if you refuse it, you go to a different mission, which I suspect, you're going to have to fight your way out. It just doesn't sound as good. This sounds like, hey, he's just going to release you on your good statement. So the 2 cards that are out there is Soothsayer's Head and a Fungal Parasite. And I'm going to put those over here, but basically what happens is if I get to the crossroads, I find one of those. And I think no matter what I find the Soothsayer's Head, it's whether or not the Fungal Parasite inflicts me. So I have to go here in order to find that item, and that'll be an explore action in order to uncover the clue, and then I get a card at random. After that, I can go to one of 3 places. Pigskin Port, where I bring the Soothsayer's Head to the jailer's cousin and maybe get a reward. Then again, maybe not. Pigskin Port is a good place to look for work, though. Gutfish Fort, I could just leave the head in the ground and get as far from Brutalburg as possible. Brutalburg is the main city. Outside the reach of Imperial law, this is a good choice of a place. And maybe somebody there will want the Soothsayer's Head. Who knows? And then finally the Stone Circle over here. Surely the Warlocks of the Circle would offer a decent price for the head. If not, at least you'll be safe from the law there in the middle of the swamp. The North Bridge is blocked, which means I cannot use that for this scenario. That block will go away at the end of the scenario. It's actually a destroyed marker, and each path and road next to Witch Hill has a law marker in it, which means I might get caught there. But there's these little nooses everywhere, so it's just this has higher danger, so maybe it's a little more likely. The objective is for all the adventurers to rest together at clue 1, 2, or 3, whether or not they have the Soothsayer's Head. And if they didn't get it, that's going to limit their options. And then it spells out what the rewards are for these different things and what the different mission paths could be. I don't want to read those yet, although presumably you could actually read them. But part of the game for me is the unfolding of the story and the surprise. That's one reason why, hey, if you're thinking about this, you may not want to watch this. There will be some spoilers in it. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum, and you'll only see one path. I've seen a couple already and may replay one of the ones I've seen, or not. I don't know. But I've got to make those decisions. But first, let's go to the weaknesses. And you do this only when you're looking at new characters, unless some card tells you to draw a weakness, some event. Okay, so the Dishonored Knight. Well, let's draw a weakness and see what we get here. Superstitious. When you fail a magic test against a curse, you become suppressed. That's for 2 XP. So this is a permanent effect that'll always be on him in exchange for a small number of experience points. However, getting up to 6, that's enough that I can increase my provoke, assuming I got time, to its master level. Okay, and the master level allows me to use this ability on monsters even if I'm targeted, which seems impressive. So I may want to do this. This isn't that bad an effect. How often am I going to be cursed? I don't know. But what is the effect of suppressed? Well, we could look. I don't see it there. I could look in the rule book, but one of the easier ways to find it is to just look for the counter. Of course, it may be on the back side of one of these, and that's one of the difficulties with this option. Suppressed is -1 to magic. That doesn't sound bad for him. I don't think this is a terrible effect, so I'm going to take it for the 2 experience. And the fact that I did that means I get to draw a second weakness. This one has a requirement of con less than 8. I have a con of 8, so I can't take it. This one doesn't have a requirement. When you draw a goblin encounter, you cannot approach, drink, gamble, or trade with it. If your party chooses to, you must refuse to participate. That's another 2 experience. Honestly, I don't mind hitting goblins either. Although that will limit the party's ability to do certain things if we're going to deal with goblins. Maybe he'll go off and do something on his own. So now let's look at the next character. And we should look at his special abilities. So one of the big things is he makes a morale test whenever he destroys an enemy that has the provoke card on it. And if he passes, he gains a luck. One thing I tried to do was to get a fair number of characters who have a good chance of getting luck during the game. The one exception here is the Banished Scholar. I needed a magical character. Those all have trouble getting luck easily. Okay. And his provoke skill, the way that's going to work, is if he's not being targeted this round, he can attach this card to a monster in his space. The attached monster must target you during the established target step, and then you return it to your hand at the end of the fight or when the creature's killed. Now, so the big bonus is, yes, I can call things over to me, but the other bonus is that's how I get my luck. So, it gives me a nice luck generator. And weapon-wise, hey, he's got a couple nice weapons. Over this guy, he's got a 1-use smoke bomb, which can prevent adventurers and monsters from attacking, and the adventurers can immediately escape. Well, that sounds like a really useful thing if we get overburdened in an attack. And then a blunderbuss, which basically can attack every other round. It's a ranged weapon. It does 2d6, and you inflict damage equal to the highest single die on your target. Now, that's a little weird. I think it never misses. It doesn't look like it has to make a test. If the target's a swarm, you inflict damage equal to both dice combined, but if the target's a ghostly, it inflicts 0 damage. And when you attack with this item, you get a little marker on it and discard any attached ammo. It uses shot, but it uses it all. And then as a combat action, instead of attacking, I could remove one of those counters from the card. It's only probably going to ever have one. My special ability is to loot. Whenever I make a loot roll, roll 2 dice instead and choose to use one of the dice. It makes it more likely I'll get stuff. That's cool because if I draw an ally or ability when looting on a path or road, I make a morale check and I might get luck. Okay, so let's see what his weaknesses are, if he wants them. Old Battle Wound. When you become fatigued, you also become weakened. See, fatigued can happen due to forced marches. And weakened is going to lower strength. Do I care about strength? Not terribly much. I am going to take that for 2 XP. Seems like, again, a decent choice, which means I get another draw. Paranoia. I have to be a rogue, warlock, or wild. I am one of these things, so this is my option. I become demoralized if I fail a recovery test while there's a Puritan, militant, rogue, or warlock in the party, or ally in the party. Okay, are there any? He's a militant. So, with a morale of 6, and no real bonuses for this, I don't know. What does demoralized do? It's kind of fun to add these things, but it reduces his morale and it makes it harder. Of course, if you rest again, you recover from that. So how terrible is that? Sure. I don't know. Let's see about these others. He's a scholar. Militant, rogue, warlock, or Puritan. He's a militant too. So I've got 2 of the wrong kind of character in here. But I think I can take it. I think it's not that terrible. And it does give me the capacity to get more skills. All right, let's go to the 3rd character. We'll explain his stuff. He's got a blinding powder. He makes a magic test. He discards the card. If he passes, the target monster becomes dazed. Constructs and epic monsters are immune. Well, dazed, I don't think I'm going to find a counter for. Maybe. I don't remember if those things have counters. I don't think so. So let's take a look at what dazed. That is not one of the ones here. This is hard to find. It's one of the problems with playing this, not even just on camera. You know, there's another reviewer who complained about it. Hey, if you're playing solo, if you get on camera. You know, honestly, you have to look up these things all the time. And the rulebook is not trivial to look for. He says they're all here. Let's see. They are not all here. Okay. But there's an index. It says page 20 has dazed. Maybe I was looking at it already. Conditions, dazed. The monster's attack is halved before applying any modifiers for abilities, etc. That would be useful if I'm facing a bunch of critters that are not constructs and epics. So yeah, we'll keep that. And it's a quick action, so it's easy. My filching familiar is a little weird. I have to be in a settlement, but it doesn't have to have a town level. And I roll a die. On a 1, it's discarded. On a 2, the danger level is increased there. On a 3, there's no effect. On a 4, I get to take an item from the loot deck, and the danger level goes up. 5, I take an item from the loot deck. 6, I take an item from the loot deck and get some gold. Pretty cool. My skill is meditation, which is I can use magic for recovery instead of morale. This is a big deal for him. You don't get to pick your skill. That comes with the character, but you get to buy them later. When you learn a mastery, you make a magic test, and if you pass, you gain a luck. So getting skills up to mastery is important for him. And that gives him, if you pass the recovery, you can discard a skill and gain XP equal to that skill's XP cost. You can't exchange masteries in this way. That's a little weird. I don't think he's ever going to want to do that, but he might end up with a skill he doesn't like and wants to change things or whatever, I guess. I don't consider the mastery terribly useful, but the luck point may make it more valuable. I doubt that this is one he's wants to get mastery in particularly. Obviously, we draw a weakness and see if we want it. Okay, he's terrified of poverty. When he loses any gold for any reason, if he has less than 10 gold, he becomes demoralized. Oh, now, we looked up demoralized. That's -1 to morale. That's not a big deal for him because of his recovery roll, so he will take it. And remember, if you rest, you get to get rid of these things, which means he gets a second draw. That one can be kind of painful. Remorse. Whenever you destroy a human, you become demoralized. However, that requires Scholar. He could be that, so he gets this one. 3 experience points? Sure. Because getting skills at master level is important to him. He wants to buy up his skills and get as many points as he can. Which means we come over here. Let's talk about him. When he destroys a monster that had 0 wounds at the start of your turn by using a ranged attack, make a morale test, and if you pass, you get a luck. That seems pretty likely. I have this spyglass, which when I make a perception test to explore, I get an extra die. I get to choose which one I want. And it's got rules here. It's got to be outdoors without trees. And then the arquebus, it's a heavy item. But the other one is too. Yeah. You can carry 2 heavy items. You cannot attack with this item while there's a coin. It's these little bags that you put on it. I don't know. This is the first time I've seen them with these. It makes an attack, perception. It's a ranged attack. The attack ignores 2 points of armor, and when you use this attack, you get the little bag counter. But as a combat action, you can remove the counter. On the other hand, you can attack with strength as a melee weapon. Now, that doesn't require you to be in assault mode, which is kind of neat. Normally, it's just the missile weapons that don't require assault mode. Like this requires assault mode. I think it's pretty cool that I can schwack somebody with the arquebus without it being assault mode. I suspect that's probably meant to be there. And then my special ability is Deadeye Shot. If I make a ranged attack this turn, I can swap the value of a power die with the value of one of the attack dice, unless the target's ooze or swarm or has ghostly. What's cool about that? Well, if my attack dice come up, I don't know. First of all, I have to be assaulting, which means the power dice are going to be associated with the attack dice. But if I come up with something like this, I might miss here on the agility or perception. Perception is the attack he's got. But if I swap this out, or this for that matter, now I'm going to hit, and I still do the full damage that I would do. So it's a kind of neat little option. It's a quick action. As long as I don't do another quick action, I can fire that off. Cool. Let's see what we get for weaknesses. Half blind, -1 perception for 5 XP. This would be fine for many of the characters. He can't take it. He needs his perception. He doesn't want to be a blind dude with a gun and a spyglass. So he's going to throw that in. That means he can't take any others. Now what I do with the discards, mainly because I don't have a lot of room, although I have more with some of them, but this isn't going to be a deck that I draw from very often. I'm going to just put it underneath where it's kind of visible like that. That helps with cleanup too, because then I just can close this up and stack all the cards, and as long as I'm not playing the game again between campaign sessions, I've got the decks in the same state that they were in. That's an option. You don't have to worry about that. If you reshuffle the decks, it's not a huge problem, but it does modify how the game plays. So, are we going to take the jailer up on his offer? I think so. What does that mean? We accept. He springs us out of the Undercity and sends us on our way with perhaps enough gear to survive the journey, so we get our starting items, and we're off to find the Soothsayer's Head, which is the storyline that I talked about. We start at Brutalberg. Nothing's been explored, but we could force march to get to the crossroads if we so desire. Okay. I'll put this aside because we're not going to need it very often. And we look at our map actions. And I can do a forced march. The danger is you have to do con or get fatigued. But bad things could happen. We might end up in a fight. So I think we do want to run. And we want to get to the crossroads, which is actually a location. I don't know quite where it is. I don't know if it's here or kind of here or what. But the roads run into it. It is an actual place, not the road itself. So by force marching, that's not a path, so I can do it. And everybody's got to make a contest on this or become fatigued. Does anybody have any bonuses with this? Or penalties, for that matter? Not that I know of, but we'll see. So he needs an 8. He's fine. He has a potential problem with doing this and needs a 7. He's okay. Over here it's a 6. He's fine. And over here it's a 7. He's fine. So we made it where we were going. We're not allowed to explore yet. No, we're boldly moving. But we do have to check for danger. So we pull a danger card, and we look at this. Okay, you glance over your shoulder, certain that you're being followed through your current space. Well, my current space is in... Okay, let's start looking. It's in the fields, I believe. The graveyard is a specific location. The fields is this whole section here. Am I right or am I wrong? I may have to look this up because I'm not able to tell which I'm in. All right, the way you look this up is there's actually a summation, and maybe it's on one of these player aids as well. But there's a summation here of which territories are which. Lowlands, fields, and the Witchwood. Okay, so this is the fields, this is the Witchwood. Cool. Okay, so I am in the fields. I am not in the graveyard, nor the catacombs, nor the Holy Order. I am in general in the fields. It was a 2. It goes up to a 3. Your current spaces counters kind of suck because they might cause you problems. Now, this is a question of, was it an explored or an unexplored space? It's an unexplored space, so the risk is 3. That matches this, which means I got problems. If I was not going boldly, I could try to sneak, but I can't. Here I could try to hunt, to look for problems, but I don't want to look for problems. So what I get is I get an event in the Lowlands, an encounter. I look, it doesn't say play immediately, so I'll put that down there to deal with. And now I get 6 Lowlands monsters. This is the problem with playing in 4. If I was playing in 1, I'd only be facing 2. but 2 can be pretty tough. 6 divided by 4 people is not as big a multiplier, right? I'm more likely to hit a nasty, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll see how bad it is. Okay, the first is a verm corpse. It will go after the person with the highest con. 7, 8, 7, 6. So he will be getting that first off. Then the sex dwarf. Some soft sell going on there. Highest strength. 9, 6, 7, 6. He gets the sex dwarf. It's good to be the leader. The black wizard. He'll go for the greatest magic. 6, 7, well, we know who that is. That's over here. The feral scratcher. He's going to go for greatest magic. That's over here. Pumpkinhead goes for highest morale. That'll be here. And he's got a horde ability for heretics. There's at least 1 heretic here, so that goes up to a 5. And a demonic servant, cult daemon. He'll go after highest magic. So our 2 shooters are loose. Who has the highest? I believe it's perception, but I need to look this up. Is going to be able to act first, which means these guys could pick people off and get some kills before he has to worry about anything. But you have to kind of strategize about this whole thing. I'm facing 6 things. Maybe I want to throw a blinding powder at this point and whack all these guys and make it a little easier for us to get a bunch of experience. Maybe there's other things we want to do. I don't know. What we didn't want to do was stay here because the law event is risky. Just making sure we didn't have a law thing there, but yeah. We could have stayed there and gained an extra experience point hanging around in the city. So let me try to consider what I want to do, and I'll come back with more on the story. This blinding powder doesn't look very useful, to tell you the truth. It's discard, make a test. It's a quick action, but it only hits 1 monster. I thought it would blow all over the place like the smoke bomb does. No, it's kind of shitty. Given that, do I want to throw the smoke bomb and try to get away? Well, I don't know. I think we have a chance against these critters. We don't feel like this is the direst circumstances where we want to do that. So let's consider taking some shots. Uh, 2d6 and damage equal to the highest roll to the target. If it's a swarm, I get a bonus against it. Oh, first thing we have to worry about is these arrival abilities. Okay. Those... I thought they were spelled out here. Maybe they're spelled out here. All right. Let's look at these. First one here is rally. If no icons are listed, draw a card from the monster's deck and add it to the fight. Establish this new monster's target and resolve each of its arrival abilities other than rally. If there's icons, draw it from the indicated deck. Okay, well, he has no special icons, so he just generates another lowland critter. And in this case, it's a grave robber who goes after whoever has the lowest morale. We got a 6 and a 6. Well, he's got so much on him. However, this guy might be an advantage. Let's look at his ability, because this is the first time we've had a choice of who to assign it to. His ability is Skirmish. If he still arrive at the end of the danger round and the level is less than 6, increase the danger level. Well, we don't want that. Remove all counters from the monster and put him back in the deck. We want to kill him. So I think we'll take him on. Although we can kill him just as easily if he's over there. But yeah, let's open up options, I guess. I don't know. It's not like these things get reassigned at the beginning of each turn. based on the same factors, so that's not a big deal. Let's look at the others. Oh, we have 2 more rallies. Son of a bitch. So let's hold him off and think about him for now. Here's one. It's a rat skink. It goes after highest agility. We're pretty badly fucked here. I may want to be dropping that smoke bomb and getting away. This is a lot of critters. So that's the first one there. Yeah. And then the second one is a corpse feeder. This is highest wounds. Everybody's even. He's going to have an survival ability of ambush if you're bald, which we were. Ambush will be perception tests, which may stun everyone until the end of the turn. Okay. Let's do that. We've done the 2 rallies. I think that's all of the abilities. Other than that, and we get to choose where he goes. So what did I say? It was a perception test? Okay. I don't think he has any modifiers for perception. He fails, so he gets that stunned for 1 round at the end of their turn. That means no power dice for him. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Perception here. These don't affect it. He's okay. Perception here. Nothing affects it. He's okay. And perception up there. He's fine. So one guy has this penalty, no power dice, and that will go away after he takes his action. All right. Now, I feel like this is actually getting a little obscene. Killing all these things, we get a lot of points for it, but I think we're better off dropping that smoke bomb on them. So, how does that work? And do we need to make these decisions? No one can attack. Adventurers may immediately escape, ignore pursuit, and discard this card. Okay, well, if we don't fight the battle, this encounter goes away. We don't know what it was, but... And all the monsters, none of them are epic, so they all go away. This was just too extreme, what we got out of it. So I'm going to drop this item. Was that wise? Was it dumb? I don't know, man. I really don't know. That is the end of the first turn. It would have been a lot more severe if we fought that combat. The combats take quite a while to fight out in this. Again, it's not like a game of Talisman or something, which the game kind of presents as though it's going to be, or I don't know. It presents like it's going to be a wander around the board, face monsters, roll off against them or something. It's not like that. It is and it isn't. There's a lot more planning and a lot more thought that goes into it. It's not the kind of puzzle game like Mage Knight is, but it definitely does require more effort than just, oh, I roll a die at it. You have options, you have things you can do that can get you out of things. This is a one use, sure, but this looked like an extreme situation to me. 6 critters I would have faced. 9, nah, not so much. Right then. The fight round is over, so this should be gone. And I'm going to put these back in the counter sheet. So they're a little hard to find. You really kind of have to have a sorted pool of things. Now I could have a tray for that, but I'm finding it easier to find things on the sheet than otherwise. I don't know. And they fit back in pretty well. So where are we? We're on the next turn, turn 2, and we need to go find this package. We don't know what it is, but I know what it is, but we don't know. In order to do that, I want to do a rest action. Now, a rest action, actually it's a camp action here because I'm outdoors. And you can tell that by this little symbol here. That's the outdoors symbol. The indoors is this one. The graveyard's indoors. I don't know why. Maybe because it's a constrained area. But then I can take various rest actions. Now there's limitations. I can't take these two because they have requirements that don't fit, like a settlement or a town. This is the settlement, this is the town. I need to be going bold because explore is what I want to do. Nobody's able to actually recover. However, if anybody had any long-lasting effects, they would go away at this point because you must recover. I don't have to take these in order, so everybody can improve before I explore. And that's important because a number of these characters took weaknesses, which gave them a decent number of victory points, or experience points, however you want to look at it. And this is tough. You have to basically look through this entire deck of things, unless you're very familiar with them, and figure out which ones you want to take. Now, you could, of course, spend to improve your skills, the skills that you start with, to mastery. But to some extent, there's advantages to grabbing more low-level skills. It's basically a fair trade-off. Sometimes the masteries are worth taking rather than another second lower-level skill. But often the lower-level skills are a better choice. And nearly everyone, this is the only guy who doesn't have enough to buy anything, has enough points that they want to be thinking about these. So this is gonna, you know, when this happens, usually it's one player at a time going up. If it's more than that, you have to kind of figure out how to split the deck and look at different sections of it to help winnow out your decisions. But it often takes like 20 minutes, you know, to make your decision of what you want to go up in. Now, if you were really familiar with the game, and after playing, I don't know, 4 sessions before this, whatever, I am not that familiar, maybe 5. I am not all that familiar with the game, which means, you know, you really kind of have to concentrate on this game to be familiar enough with the deck that you kind of know what you want beforehand. Now, maybe you wrote down some lists of things that you wanted and you looked at them ahead of time, but I'm never that prepared for anything. Just a note though, each character has a set of suggested skills they might want to go up for, and in the easy game, you're allowed to actually pick your weakness, and they have a suggested weakness that I'm not sure is that suggestible. For example, the Void Stalker, I'm not sure that's particularly good for the Void Witch. It almost seems like the worst person to have it, but because the Void Witch wants to go into the Void, I don't know. But maybe they have some advantage against it. However, all your little counters are on the front of your sheet, so it becomes kind of difficult to hunt those down, and I'm not sure I agree with those, because to some extent what you take is modified by what all the other characters in the party are. So if you were alone, sure, but if you're not alone, maybe you want to look at other things. And if you are alone, those suggestions don't really take that into account either, which is to say that you need to have a good coverage of what you can do and what your capabilities are. So you're going to want to make sure that you can bring your character up to, you know, some minimal standards in, say, magic and stuff like that. And there are things that'll increase your magic by a point. Not straight up from the skill, but they make it easier to get the statuses that'll up your values. You're not going to see the kind of advancement. You get advancement in skills. You're not going to see a general advancement in stats or anything like that. This isn't that kind of game where you can kind of really build up a character who's got very, very powerful stats across the line or anything. what you are going to be able to do is find some items and get yourself skills that'll improve you. And the weakness is, well, you're stuck with them for the game, which for for starting XP. However, you're basically trading away your overall position in the long term for better survivability in the short term. And as you can see with that first encounter, yeah, they can look pretty tough right off. I winnowed it down to where I want to go. Now this guy's I can probably just push away. These were ones that are interesting to him, and therefore maybe somebody else wouldn't take them. But he doesn't have the points to buy anything, so we'll ignore him. But let's look at him. He could increase his provoke. That doesn't seem terribly worthwhile. The reason is he can provoke cards that aren't on him, that aren't targeting him as a quick action. Pull somebody else against him. He's got the armor. It's probably not a bad idea for him to pull things over that aren't on him. Flipping it over means he can target things that are on him with provoke. There might be times when that's going to come in handy, but I'm more interested in some of these others. Rage, for example, will give a plus to to attacks using strength against monsters that are targeting him. That seems pretty good. However, he doesn't have the points for that, and that may mean he wants to hold off on buying anything. Some of these others are kind of nice, but I really like that rage one. If I can get a couple more experience points, I'll be good at that. Now, of course, that means I'm not going to have advantages, and some of these others are kind of nice. This one allows me, if I kill something, to send some little critter back into the deck so we don't have to fight it. That's kind of a nice action. I like this one. I had this with my Witch Sniffer, but I think I'm going to hold off until I can get Rage. This is very... Oh, wait. No. Rage I can afford. Yeah, let's buy this. Yeah, I think I didn't put the ones that wouldn't fit in. And so I spent 8 experience to get that. And these others go in here. This one I like too. It helps kill big monsters, but I'm hoping we don't have to face anything big right away. Of course, we got rid of a lot of little tiny things and ran through much of the deck, so there may be a big monster available. This guy here, he can improve his looting. And this is very attractive because I know what the scenario is. If he draws a diseased or monster while looting, he makes a perception test. If he fails, if he passes, he can discard that card without having to cope with it. Now, usually when you pull a monster out of the loot deck, it's okay. You can probably wipe it out. But if you're really fatigued, if you're really beaten up from the battle, it might be pretty bad. Another choice is the Martial Discipline, immune to Annoy and Taunt. Those can be really annoying abilities. I think I found one that I couldn't afford. I'm going to up the looting because I do know what this adventure is. And I'm going to use that knowledge to my advantage. You might not be doing that otherwise, but you did know which cards you put aside from the loot deck, and one of them is that Pestilence. So, yeah. Like I said, this guy can't upgrade. Meditation, I was not interested in the mastery level of that, but there's all kinds of great things for wizards to do. And let's look at the ones that I pulled out that are great, that I liked a lot. First one here is Magic Missile. I have no attack capability. So that's very appealing because that allows me to use my perception, which is not bad at all, to make attacks at range, which sometimes gives you advantages. And, I'll be able to do damage. I'll be able to do that from guarded mode. There's no marker that says I can't do it that way. This one maybe is even more impressive. It's a combat action. I make a Mag test, and I do damage equal to my lowest single die to each monster targeting me. If I have a lot of critters targeting me, that's really useful. It's a magic action, though, or this is the combat action, so like this, it would be the attack. So if I was dealing with bigger monsters, this is more valuable. Small monsters, this isn't going to wipe them all out at once, though, and that's the problem. Have a couple of options though. Most specifically, this nice one, Mist Form, which is what I think I'm going to take, because I think it's the first step towards being good. As a combat action, I take a Mag test, If I pass, the monsters can't inflict wounds on me unless they're void or ghostly. Illusionary Double is a similar one. You roll a d6 for each monster. If you roll a 5 or higher, the monster attacks your duplicate and doesn't hit you. And it doesn't affect void. It's more expensive and seems less effective. Difference is this is a quick action. This is a combat action. Shit. So this is a combat action, which means I can't do an attack along with it. So, these two together are kind of appealing. All right. I don't know which to take. I mean, I got to choose from one of these two is basically the thing. I'm going to go for the more expensive Shockwave because I've got so many experience points to begin with. And I was going to take the defense first, but the defense, the really powerful defense, doesn't allow you any offense. It would be a useful thing, though, if I took all the critters onto me that I could and let other people pick them off. But I'd like to get some kills, too, you know? Because that's how you get experience in the game, is to kill things. So that's the improve action. I can't do invest or trade. And now we'll do an explore. And I believe each person is allowed to do this. So we might choose our order. Let me make sure of that. I should have the rule book over here where it's not going to interfere too much with things. If you're in a space, one adventure per space per turn can explore with a perception test. Okay. Somebody may have an advantage for this. Somebody may have a disadvantage. I don't really remember these things anymore. So, if he becomes demoralized, if you fail a recovery test. Okay. I don't see anything that affects that, so let's look at our perceptions. We have an 8 over here and 8. We have a bunch of 8s. Somebody's going to do it who isn't going to hurt. He's bonused, so he gets an additional die. I think he meets the things. He's outside, and there are no trees here. I can use 2 dice. Oh, look, those are low. I'll use those. And bang, I have succeeded in exploring. That takes us to the mission book, which explains what happens with the scenario-specific stuff. When we do an explore at clue number 6, we remove the clue and draw a random card from the mission deck, which is 2 cards right now. If we get the Soothsayer's Head, we discard the card. The fungal parasite to the loot discard. If we draw the fungal parasite, we must take that, and then we get the Soothsayer's Head. Okay, well, I shuffled these suckers, but I don't know, so odd it's the top card. I don't ever trust shuffling of small decks. He's the one who did this, looking with his spyglass, and he finds the Soothsayer's Head, which is cool because that means this goes away, and I don't have to deal with it. Now, there are advantages to finding that, but overall I see that as bad. Now, the first thing is when you're resting, you can pay the Soothsayer's Head 1 luck to look at the value of any face-down clue on the board. That's not important right now. We know where the numbers are in this one, essentially, or we don't care where they are. It's where the location of the clue is. But in some, that might be important. And I don't think that sounds terribly good. You have to have Magic 7 or be a Puritan to do this, but he's going to carry the Soothsayer's Head for now. Someone else may be able to use it, though. So let's look at that. When you find it, its haunting, raspy voice whispers to you in an ancient tongue. If any adventurer in the party meets the requirements of the Soothsayer's Head, Magic 7 or Puritan, they can make sense of desperate pleas to be returned home to the stone circle. Well, somebody does. A whole bunch of people, actually, right? Magic 7. Well, he certainly has the magic requirement. I don't actually. Nobody else does. Oh, he does. Huh. Okay. So we know that this head wants to go back here. Do we want to take the head there? Is the head good? Is it evil? I don't know. I tend to be a kind of nice person. So I'm like, well, I feel kind of bad for this head, and I want to bring it back there. However, I have played that event out, which may mean, gee, I would like to try the other one. The question is, do I want to spoil that other? I mean, there are 3 options, but I consider dumping the head here or trying to pawn it off there. Seems like the worst of the. Seems like the least interesting option. Bringing it to the jailer's cousin here, that might be cool. And if we were, if I felt kind of nasty and everything, I would be okay with doing that. But I feel like we really do want to bring it back here. So that's where I'm going to head with it. Now, we still have the regular part of the game left, which is we have to draw a danger card here. And horrible things lurk amongst the crops, waiting for travelers to set upon and devour amongst the fields. Well, that's where I am. So the fields goes up to a 4. I don't have anything I can do about that. And if I'm outside, I am. There's no law marker there. There's a law marker there, but it doesn't count. The danger number is a 2. A 2 is less than 4, which means we're affected. So we get a lowlands encounter, and it says resolve immediately. So we'll do that. You freeze in your tracks as the air around you falls silent. The rustling of the tree limbs in the wind and the constant buzzing of insects have suddenly ceased. If you're in cautious stance, we are not. We're immune to ambush this turn. And we are outside, so we take this one. We don't take this one. Well, that didn't help us. If we were cautious, we would have some slight bonus off of it. You can see if you have all the discard piles, this becomes a little easier, and I can probably spread out for them, but it does start to take up a lot of space. And now I am going to be getting 5 monsters because there's 4 of us together. And we got 6 last time and had to kind of bail on that. So let's see what 5 does for us. Our first one, a ghost swarm, goes to the person with the least luck. I got a 1 over here. He's going to win this. Second one goes to the least perception. We have a 6 perception here. There's a wolf man. Third one goes to the least magic. We have a bunch of 6 magics, so we're going to leave him out and make a decision on him. The greatest perception. We have a bunch of people who have greatest perception. And the highest con, which I think is going to be him. Okay, so he's attracting a lot of trouble. Now, as we always have to do, we have to look up what all the cards mean. So far, we haven't actually fought a battle. Right? I mean, we evaded a battle. Okay. These are all listed back here. And this is why this ends up over here. All right, first the arrival abilities. Fear. I've got 2 fears. Each adventurer in the monster space has to make a morale check. If you fail this test, you're stunned until the end of the following turn. Okay. Technically, these have to be assigned before that happens. Curse, the monster's target must make a magic test. If you lose the test, you lose a luck. Okay, well, am I good at dealing with this Chinese character weird thing? Well, I'm the one person who can't take it. I don't know. And then let's look at the other abilities and consider what they're going to do. He's got a lot of shit on him. Drain. At the end of the combat, if it recovers wounds, if it caused wounds. Ghostly. We've seen a lot of things that affect it when attacking it. Your strength, agility, and perception are halved when rolling to hit. Yuck. But not magic. And pierce, it probably does its damage. It ignores armor, but you can still defend it. It ignores 1 point of armor. I think. This is weird. The monster's damage deal piercing damage, they ignore armor. If the number is indicated N, it ignores N armor instead. I think it ignores all armor unless it has a number there. I don't know. Pursue and onslaught. And this is where the game gets tough, is, you know, working all these. You cannot escape from a fight while targeted by this monster unless it's dazed or hexed. And onslaught is... The monster gains +1 attack when targeting an adventurer who is on guard. If it's got a number, it gets +N attack instead. Okay. Evade and pursue, we know what pursue does. What about evade? When you attack this monster with melee, if you get doubles, you miss regardless of the total. Yeah, that's not that big a deal. And berserk, the monster gains +2 attack on the first round of combat unless it's dazed. Well, this guy's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. So he goes to the greatest perception, which is not him. And greatest perception is who moves first. So there the question is, who's going to blast this guy? Now, he's got this blunderbuss, which I think attacks multiple targets. Right. No. Maybe it's the arquebus. This has an attack perception range. This has attack just range. Roll 2d6 and inflict. This guy doesn't have to hit. That's his bonus. Yeah, I don't know. You know, lowest magic. Well, I'm going to take him too, because I've got my armor, and he doesn't really hurt me, and getting the most things onto one player is useful. Oh, actually, no, I'm not, because I have my quick action. I'm going to give that to him. Shit. And what? The berserk was the particularly dangerous one, and he's going to the greatest perception. This is someone we want to kill. He has shockwave, but doesn't particularly want to take this sucker on. But he will anyway. Okay. Because he has a high perception. So now I believe the combat's done in perception order. Let's look that up and make sure, because if it's not, we got problems. And yeah, we're going to run over the hour easily here. This is a hard thing to find in the rulebook. We didn't notice this before. But I think it's like just over here. Yeah, this is the only place where this is mentioned. So if you don't look at color graphics that kind of highlight things, and you just look at the rules and try to read things from the rules, you can't find that perception order thing. Okay, well, I would like to go to the guy who has no monsters on him, because he has the first chance to like do something to people. Now, as a quick action, he can swap his power die with the value of the attack dice, so that's useful. He cannot attack while there's a coin token. He attacks at range, and it ignores 2 points of armor when you use this attack. Or I can attack with strength as a melee attack, and not ignore the armor. Okay, well, what is the biggest thing I want to kill? Is it this? Or is it one of these others, like this Pierce, which is kind of obnoxious, or this big wolf man, who's kind of obnoxious, or this really potent thing that, oh, we didn't make the morale checks. Shit. Okay, so we got the arrival ability that we didn't do yet. A morale test, if you fail, you're stunned until the end of your following turn. Okay, he's got a morale 9. He's fine. This guy, I don't know what stun does. He fails. He could re-roll a die using luck. But he'll just take the effect. Luck is valuable stuff. It's only till the end of a round. That will get him. There aren't a lot of characters with really good morale. Shit. Okay, I need our final one, the sharpshooter, who is also stunned. Well, this kind of sucks. Everybody's got to roll again, because there's another one. Now, it's only stunned until the end of your combat round, so he just has to succeed a second time. With this much fear in the play, there was very little chance that, you know, these lower morale guys were going to not be scared. Okay, so we wanted to go with him first. His Deadeye shot allows him to change the power die. Well, he doesn't have a power die, so he's not going to be doing that. He's not got any monsters on him, so he's not defending. Who's got armor? Just this one. Oh, what I'm rolling, and it's not in the rules that I've seen, is that you can remove the counters from the combat cards. I think there may be a rule that you remove all the counters from the combat cards at the end of a battle or something. I haven't seen that, but looking at this, hey, you'd be able to reload between battles, right? So I dropped this thing on there, and I'm taking a shot at him. This attack is a perception attack using range. None of that really matters. He's an undead goblin. I know some of the things have like ghostly or stuff like that. They're not bothered. They're not affected by. So I get to make my attack. No power dice. No bonuses. So I roll a 7. I'm using perception. That's under my perception. My highest die roll is a 4. I get to ignore the armor. So I have killed this, which means I get an experience and a money at the end of the battle if I'm still there. He's taken his action. I don't know quite how to mark this, except, I don't know. Well, for one thing, his stunned marker goes away. But I've got to do something to remember that. Because I'm playing solo, it's a little harder to remember. But I'll tell you, even in 2 players, sometimes it's harder. Maybe it's hardest in 2, because you're often alternating, but you mix it up sometimes if you have equal perception. Even in 2 players, I lose track of where we are in the combat round. So I kind of want to do something with these assault counters. I'm going to drop it on the character sheet. For the people who've gone, and then I'll take it off the next time, I guess. It means out of the Perception 8 characters, I still have the Mage available. Now, unfortunately, his ability only hits things that are targeting him. He's kind of the perfect person to take on a lot of stuff. However, he's still allowed to do something. He'll assault. It doesn't make a difference, to tell you the truth. He might as well guard. But, I don't know. He's going to try to kill something. Now, clearing this off might be useful as well. I would like to get rid of this because, oh, it had something annoying. The evade, is that what was annoying about him? When you attack a monster with melee, if the attack results in doubles, your attack misses. Yeah, I don't know why I saw him as particularly useful. Clearing him off of here means this guy can do an assault tactic though too. So I think it's probably the best thing. So, and this is also fairly weak, so I might actually kill it. Well, no. It's got a 4. This would be the easiest to kill. Ghostly Pierce. Yeah, why don't I kill this? or attack this. If I can kill that, that would be awesome. Of course, my chances are fairly low. I have to roll a 5 or a 6 on my attack die because I'm halved. And I wish I'd taken the magic missile if I'm going to be plinking things. And I'm using agility rather than magic or perception, which I would rather have done. Yeah, I screwed up. So I'll use my agility and try to whack him with my wizard dick or something, which means I'm almost impossible to hit him. Is there anything I could kill? Probably not. Okay, I roll an 8, I missed. I do nothing, and he's done. Now I gotta go to him. He's the next perception. He must fight this. He can't go shoot those. That's okay. Now, I can just do damage to this. I'll use my special attack on it with the blunderbuss, I guess, because I don't have any other good weapon. I roll a 6, I kill it, and it's gone. Yeah, and there was something I wanted to do, but I don't remember what it was. That brings us to the poor dishonored knight who has all this crap on him. And he gets to roll actually all the dice. These guys got rid of their stuns. They've already gone. That's one thing I wanted to do. Well, he has to do aggressive to get an extra power die. But he could do an attack without the aggressive stance. The aggressive stance means, though, that I don't get a power die against in defense. I do have armor. This thing upsets me greatly. What did Onslaught do? Gains +1 attack when attacking in guard. Yeah, okay. So we'll take an assault stance, because that gets us more dice. What do we want to hit? Oh, I could have provoked something. No, it's only if I'm not being targeted. Shit, I got to get that up to master level, I guess. And now I've got to pay attention to some of these others. So, for example, he drew... he didn't do the looting? Oh, he would have done the looting, I guess. I don't know. He actually, let's give him a luck if he passed his morale check. He did not, so he doesn't get the bonus luck. He would have actually done the looting, so we'll give him the head. I don't know if that counts as looting, but whatever. Let's check some of these others. When you learn a mastery, yeah, I didn't want to learn meditation mastery. And when you destroy a monster that had 0 wounds at the start of your turn by using a range attack. He just did this. So he makes a morale test to get a luck. I took these characters because they have the capability to generate luck. Luck's really important. You want to have at least some characters in your party who can generate luck in order to avoid the hands of doom. And it doesn't matter, you know, the larger, so a single character party, you definitely want somebody who can generate luck. But even a large party, you want a fair amount of your characters to be able to generate luck, because you have to pay a number of luck equal to the number of party members. Gathering up luck is useful. Spending luck on combat or whatever, it's an iffy proposition. Okay. So what do I want to do? Well, what could I kill? I could probably kill this right away, and he's kind of annoying. Onslaught, that would be nice to kill, but I don't really want to go for that, I guess. So I want to get rid of one of my critters. Yeah, I need to be able to provoke things on my own card. I screwed up. What does Rage do? Attacks do an additional point of damage. That's really potent. Okay, so I'm going to be using my strength, which is a 9 on the red dice. My defense is the green dice, and I get an extra power die because of my weapon and my stance. And we roll. And my natural roll is a 6, which is under My strength, these 2 6s, well, either one of them does fine. Unfortunately, my agility was beaten by this, and that's bad. That means I failed to dodge anything. I wasn't in guard stance, so I'm going to be taking all this damage, which is 6. That doesn't ignore armor. So 4 and 3 is 7. Wow, that's not good. My agility is 7. I'm going to actually blow a luck, I think, to re-roll this 6 and try to reduce that damage. Luck's an expensive thing, but I'm taking a lot of damage. Okay, that's much better. All right, let's take my damage first. This is simultaneous, but I have a 4 defense there. That means with my +2 armor, I avoid this and I avoid this. This ignores the armor, but the 4 is enough to avoid that. So I didn't take any damage by spending that luck. It was a good expenditure. My attack worked, and I'm doing 6 damage, 7 damage. I was attacking this. I could have almost killed one of these others, but that's okay. And the ghost swarm is dead. Okay. Now we go to the next round. And officially, we look to see, hey, is this still on the highest con? Is this still on the lowest perception? Yes, they are. And we go on to other characters. Who's going to go first? I don't know. He, I think, fired his weapon. He should have a little bullet. He should have a bag on his. Now, reloading doesn't seem like a great option at this point because we're getting close to the end here. So what he's going to do, he's going to go first. He's going to assault again. And he has an attack using his strength by swacking the guy with the arquebus in melee. He's doing assault, so he gets a power die in there. And what does he want to hit? This is harder to kill. I'm not going to kill either. What did Onslaught do? I don't remember. Okay. And Drain is kind of obnoxious. Let's go after the troll because he's got the Drain ability. If we can kill him in the first, I think we're going to kill one and get overage on another, essentially. So this is strength is 7. I hit. I do 4 to this. And the way we mark that is with these blood counters, 3 and a 1. But I've done my action. I guess the warlock might, or the wizard might as well use his physical body to attack again. And this is going to be an agility test because that's easier than strength. He misses. He's not going to do much anyway, so we're not going to do anything about that. Oh, this guy's next. I could reload. Might be worth it. Oh, I was going to kill this. I attack to this instead. Yeah, you know, I feel like things aren't going terribly well. I'm going to reload and drop that counter over there because I'm not likely to kill this with him. Is he likely to kill it? It's 4 hits. Hold on. Yeah. I can attack with an agility of 8. That's got a fair chance of hitting. Let's do some damage to it. We got to kill that troll so it doesn't recover. Okay, looks like we got a hit. I did 3 points, so another blood marker. And sorry about all the wandering. It has to do with trying to grab counters. Yes, fixed camera would solve it, but yeah, whatever. Okay, I've got to kill the troll. which means I'll be doing an attack. Since there's the onslaught, I'm gonna count on my armor and such not to help me here. And we roll again. And obviously we gotta get that provoke up. Okay. My attack 8 is less than my strength. That worked. And I'm gonna be doing 6. So I'm gonna kill the troll. But what about my defense? 5, it's less than my agility. I defend against 3 plus 2 armor is 5. I take 1 point of damage from the troll. Okay. Luckily, we killed the troll, so it doesn't recover any hits. So we'll get some of these blood markers here. He's worth a couple of experience, which is pretty cool. And we go to the next round of the combat. And again, he can't try to finish that off or anything, so everybody's going to get a schwack at it. Looks pretty clear to me. He's very valuable, so I'm going to save him for last with the hopes that he can kill something and get an experience point. It's unlikely. Chances are he's going to get the kill. And this is something as a group you kind of have to choose on. I'm going to hit him with my hat or whatever. An 8 is successful. It beats my agility, so I do not 4, but 2 hits to that thing. It has no armor. And I've done my assault. He's going to schwack with his gun. Now this is a full strength attack, because the arquebus is big enough he can use it as a club. He gets a hit, he does 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still not dead, but now the wizard has a chance, and he'll whack it with his dick. No! He's not strong enough to hit it with the agility and strength aren't good enough. These guys are both gone. So he doesn't do any damage. So he doesn't get the experience. This guy goes, he'll take the aggressive because, hey, why not? Nine, that hits his strength, so he's going to kill it. But a 9 defense isn't good enough. I wasn't in guard mode, so I can't defend anyway. So I'm going to be taking that 5 hits. -2 for the armor is 3 more hits. So I'm up to 4, but I get the kill. All right. Now we record what is gotten. He gets 1 experience and nothing else. I'll just put that over here where I'm going to be discarding. Come over here. He's going to get 1 gold. Oh, he gets a check on a 1. He found something. Hey, bonus. Oh, he actually gets 2 dice for his loot, so he's more likely to get it. And if he finds something icky, he can try to avoid it. Okay. He found something icky. He found a monster. Oh. Do we want this? I mean, it's pretty easy. Let's see. Ambush. The adventurer must make a perception test. If they fail, they're stunned. You know what? We're going to not try to avoid that, I think. But it means we didn't get our loot that we wanted. But we got more potential experience and money. And that's always cool. He gets 1 experience and 1 gold. And on a 1, he finds something. That goes over here. He found 5 experience and 1 gold. And that means on a 1 through 5 he finds something. You use the experience for whether or not there's treasure. He does. He found a shoddy shield. You can roll an additional power die if you're in block, but it reduces your agility. If you roll a 12 on your defense die when using this, you discard it, and it requires a strength of 7. Well, he has a strength of 7, but his weapon's two-handed. My weapon's two-handed. This is two-handed. He doesn't have a strength of 7, so this is basically a piece of garbage for these guys. It is a heavy item, so I can't even carry it. As a quick action, I'll throw it to someone. I don't know. Here, hold this. He's got 2 heavy items now. Yeah, here, you hold it. You're not carrying anything heavy. I'm a wizard, I can't. Okay. These are all dead and gone. We succeeded in defeating the monsters in the space this time. We didn't do that last time. That reduces the level. This is really important to do. If you don't do this, you're kind of failing at the game. If you don't remember to do that, you're screwing something major up. But now we have the barrel surprise. It has ambush. Each adventurer in the space must make a perception test. Any adventurer who fails is stunned for a round. Okay. Perception 6. He's fine. Perception 8. Everybody else has an 8. No! It's not that terrible. Lack of power dice. Okay, so we did not get a chance to reload, though, during the looting, I think. I don't know. The combat's over. Yeah. You would reload before you start looting, right? I would. But he's a looter. He wants to do it right away. Okay, so he's the only one who's stunned. This is going to go to the person with the most perception. We'll give it to him because he's stunned. He's going to go last. I don't know. But anyway. It has skirmish. Skirmish is problematic. If the monster is alive at the end of the combat round and the danger level is less than 6, the danger level goes up. This is something we have to kill. And then the monster goes back. Basically, he runs away and tells his buddies. Okay. Well, to start with, the wizard can't kill him. So we're going to go with the sharpshooter first. He's going to assault it. He uses his strength. And he gets a power die because he's not stunned. There's a good chance he'll kill this off. Well, he does 2. So it's not dead. I don't want it going here yet because it'll attack him. So the wizard will go next. Remember, he's got a low chance of hitting, but he succeeds in hitting and does 2 points of damage. That's enough to kill this. Oh, this had armor. That's enough to do a 2nd point of damage to it. And that's it. Okay, and that's him. Let's put this here. He's got to go next. No power dice. I could guard if I want. I don't see a real reason not to since I don't have power dice. I'm going to fire my blunderbuss at him. Okay, I do 4 points. Oh, that guy ignored armor, so he's actually at 3. But he does not ignore armor. Okay, so that's 4 points of damage. I'm going to kill him. I succeed in dodging, and I can dodge the 5 attack. So this is now gone. That gives me another experience and a gold. And I get another loot check, I think. I do not reduce the danger level, though. Finding nasties doesn't help, and I should be rolling 2 dice, but I succeeded. So I found the weighted pistol, and I love this item. This is the Puritan's item that makes him so godlike. First of all, you don't have to reload it like you have to reload these damn things. It's a one-handed item. It attacks with perception range. Essentially the same as this. Well, this has a little bit better firepower. The requirement, however, is an agility of 7. This is a really good item. we're having trouble with the wizard here. We're going to lend him this gun. Just to make him really, really much more combat capable. This was a lucky ass draw. That's a top value weapon. I think maybe one of my favorite weapons in the game, and certainly the one that I've had experience with that I like the most. And that is the end of turn 2 on here. We've cleaned everything up, and we're ready to continue on our mission. And I feel pretty damn good about where we are, having gotten the pistol especially, but also, you know, gotten some more experience, etc. Nobody got too terribly wounded. He's not in great shape, but I feel like we can keep going in this condition. I do want to eventually, once I get 6 big experience points, get that provoke up though. I wasn't realizing how many monsters he was going to be taking on, at least in that combat. The other one, I don't think he took that. He took a significant amount on him. The other one, he's a different character from everyone else, very different from the other characters, which means he's more likely to attract monsters because the others can split them up and take them as they like. So he's just going to gather the monsters that don't kind of get assigned as per my desire. We're going to send this up. And I'll keep playing. You know, I don't know if I'll be going in quite as much detail, but it's hard not to go in detail in the game, I guess. I don't know. We'll get to story rather than mechanisms soon enough, I guess.